is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I do apologise for this. I am very late in my return to my computer. I was at Dragon Force. My friend booked the ticket back. He booked it quite late. I don't know why. He's a boomer. Anyway, we're going to be talking about GeorgeNotFound because some more stuff has come to light and it's getting quite strange really. And I thought to myself, what we'll do, rather than do a catch-up, I'll just link that video down below, is simply dive into a relevant Twitter thread from Nick Diorio that absolutely conveys a point that needs to be raised earlier rather than later. It could be used as a later, like a Jerry Springer conclusion, but we don't need that here. The biggest problem with George, Caiti, Shovel, Dream, and all the Minecraft people responding to allegations is transparency. No one is forthcoming with any information, everyone is anonymous. Important details get omitted or left out, and they all act like we should know lol. When people get the wrong idea about something you are choosing to remove your story, this is your fault. It's in like a bold font, I'm going to use the voice. None of these have shown the ability to just make a well thought out and thorough response that contains all relevant information with timestamps and screenshots. This operates under the assumption George is going to come out and directly confirm the breast touching. It's hilarious when Caiti gets mad at people for not knowing the only relevant piece of information that was omitted in favor of cringe-powered dynamic BS and age discourse. The reality of the situation is that this info, if true, does change the discourse. It doesn't, however, shift the goalpost. It doesn't change how often she's lied, change the characterization of that night to fit her lies and omitted valuable information. She's shown texts where she says she's chilling, but it was kinda weird. And she's on stream giving Vietnam flashback war story tales on stream. Both of these sources are Caiti. One paints the night as fine at the time, but weird in post-talk land, and the other paints it as a brutal cold S.A. assault. You may have noticed if you've kept up with this, there's a detail that Nick has mentioned that's fresh. It's new, it's different. It does not fall in line with what we heard when the initial accusation was levied. Although in the initial accusation, George's name was never mentioned. This time the story has changed from tickling and cuddling to touching of chesticles. And as Nick has pointed out, if that were true, it changes the discourse. It doesn't move the goalpost, but it comes across as someone trying to move the goalpost. This, in truth, is dangerous area to tread, walk. It's not a good area either, because you've already put a story out there, Caiti. You have had 2 responses, you yourself have responded to one of those in text form. And now, you've put out another stream, and more clips have come to light because the story has changed. Of course, you are going to require some context here, folks. So I'm going to provide that context.
It is assault, okay? I'm not gonna apologize, say that it isn't assault, that I'm not a victim. The touching that he has admitted to many times, this touching that he admitted to not asking or getting my consent before he did, he felt up my tits on a couch with other people there. He stuck his hand up my shirt, under my bra, and felt up, fondled, whatever you want to say. He felt up my tits. Unwanted touch is literally in the definition of assault. It's assault, and I'm never gonna apologize.
This clip was tweeted out by August, who had said, Caiti spoke out twice. She had 2 different opportunities, I assume it meant the number 2, to say this. First, it was held my waist. Then he touched under my shirt. Now, he touched under my bra. This is vital information. Why has this story been changed so many times? I know her boobs are under her shirt, but her stomach is there as well, and the fact he went under her bra is an important detail and makes everything more severe. If she said this in the first place, I feel many people's opinions, including mine, would be different. Somebody had, in a reply, said the story isn't changing, more details are coming out. Actually, the story is changing, because to add those details does in fact change the story. Before, you could only infer. Now it is being asserted it is as severe as we were led to believe. George admitted to putting his hand up her shirt. He did not clarify where, and that is exactly what she is doing. Reply, details that change the severity of the story that should have been addressed in her first statement. Others also pointing out, what's under the shirt? Where does the bra go? Again, my comment of inferred and asserted is vitally important. You can imply something, but if you don't mention it in the first place, What have you done? You've shit-stirred, basically. This was retweeted by Carvos, who said GeorgeNotFound accuser Caiti is back changing her story again because apparently George now felt up her tit. Seems like a really big detail to leave out of your first 2 attempts to paint George out as a assaulter, but still glad to see she beat her sub count for the day. Yes, congratulations on that. Mine's usually 1, but only because I don't have the kind of pull you have. Certainly don't have the follower count you have either. Reply, yeah, they're going with the Adriana Lee method of changing key details of the encounter and finding out one of the screenshots was literally faked. She had 0 explanation for that. Reply, what was faked? There was a screenshot from a friend of George, so he talked to the person Caiti said it was from, and that person denied ever posting it. As you go further down, you have the unmentioned friend, and we actually had this screenshot in our last video on this subject. This screenshot is derived from her statement, a rather lengthy statement that we went through in the last video. If faked, not a good look at all. Willie Mack had also retweeted that August tweet by saying, I've watched a lot of Caiti allegations videos, and this is the first time I've heard her say boobs were groped. Tree of logic, she keeps changing the story, but as Omni points out further down in the replies, I thought both of them were alluding to this entire time without saying it. This is where Nick Diorio's statement about not really giving much information or proof really bites them both on the ass. Willie Mack also tweeted later, in her first video, I hope this is not a forgiving world, because I hope he rots in this world unforgiven. Why can't I experience the world's kindness? In her new video, it was never about cancelling George, you're an annoying, all the question marks. Reply also, I can never do forgiveness, I've been called so many things like Amber Heard. Someone does make a good point further down, Troco. In the newer video, she said she misspoke when she said she was freshly 18, she meant freshly out of high school. However, I've seen the stream video, and I'm sure many have. She says freshly 18 quite a few times. Once or twice, perhaps an accident. As many times as you did, there needed to be a counter on it. There are many who have, upon hearing these accusations, these updated accusations, that are very much on George's side. Some of those equally believe he will just admit it anyway. Him admitting to the initial accusations is where that comes from, for those who don't know. Personally, I think it's rather weird to put out an accusation, to not give out specifics in the first accusation, which meant that it was very much open to interpretation, which allowed a baying mob to attack without anything to definitively go on. Upon a response being provided by George, you then put out a lengthier essay-style response, and in that, you contradicted yourself a little. That was where you should have then provided everything. Rather than infer or imply or assert, state. And if you have proof, make sure none of the screenshots are faked. But you didn't, and because how that can come across as being poorly executed, when you then update even further to provide more information which can be considered a form of dragging out the story, you put what was believed out as what you believe to be a fact. I say what you believe because we cannot prove it. None of us can. So we can consider what you say to be an assertion as well. I don't want to, but that is how it is because it is your experience, and without any evidence to confirm it, that's all it is. But this is where George will more than likely have to respond, won't he? He will have little to no choice because you've now stated that he has legitimately grabbed you where he should not have grabbed you without consent. But there are enough gaps in the story already concerning the alcohol, concerning your age, concerning the ambience and the atmosphere of the room, the people present. You have character witnesses that do not believe what you say to have happened at all. People who are close, of course, to George, so they have a bias. And there are many who believe you are only doing this to get back at Dream because you don't like Dream, which there is a big enough community of people who do not like Dream. If you have a large enough following, you are going to have a lot of people that don't like you regardless. All these additional factors tear at the story and they make it trickier to discern truth from fiction. Again, without, as Nick Diorio pointed out, without transparency, we don't have that. And it will be unlikely to be that, considering the nature of the gathering where this took place. I say that because you claimed there were other people in that room when this happened. Where are their statements on this?